Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dozer, and if you're new to the show, the mission here is to expose the quacks and gimmicks in the marketing industry while featuring some great marketers and entrepreneurs along the way. On this episode, I'm super excited to have on Julia McCoy. Now, Julia is a CEO and Chief Content Officer at First Movers AI. She's a YouTuber, podcaster, probably a lot of other things I'm missing there too, but also an expert in all things AI. So I'm so excited to have you on, and thank you so much for joining.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. It's an honor to be here with you.
Absolutely. So let's just do a quick intro on who Julia McCoy is and kind of what you do at First Movers AI.
Yes. So I am a former human writer, still am a human writer, but I'm a human writer turned AI company owner. I believe AI is the future. It will change everything. I think it's humanity's last invention. Every new world is going to be discovered through it, and it is all in how we harness it today. So I saw it in 2021 when I sold my agency. I grew it to 100 people. Writing agency, we did 60,000 projects. And in 2023, I joined the AI space full time, started working in a SaaS, and worked on that, was the president there, worked on that till October of 2024 when I really saw, it's frontier models, custom solutions that is the future of how businesses will shift. It's also agents, which could completely eliminate SaaS, depends on how that shapes out. So I built First Movers with the idea that it'll be the companies embracing the right AI tools and the right AI systems that will be the first movers of their space.
I like that. I believe your old agency was called Express Writers. So I guess What was that light bulb moment when maybe it was Jasper or Jarvis? That was my light bulb moment with AI. But what was that light bulb moment for you where you're like, wow, I need to make a change?
Yeah. I think it was just seeing, this was 2021. So a year before ChatGPT came out, definitely Jasper, Jarvis was out at the time. But even more than that, just seeing the evolution of GPT itself and knowing that this machine, the generative pre-trained transformer, was going to go from terrible article spinner, just creating a pattern of words that didn't make sense, to actually making sense of human language. When I saw that evolution and the trajectory, I knew, okay, this is going to change everything. I don't know how much. And I had some great mentors that were telling me, it's just a matter of time till all content is automated. So I listened to my mentors and my intuition.
Yeah, I remember Spend Rewriter when I was actually in college. I don't know if you remember that one. That was before Jasper or Jarvis. It wasn't like actual machine learning or anything, but that was like my first thing of this whole AI stuff.
Yep.
So I want to talk about First Movers AI a little bit more. So for a prospective client or someone that talks to you about how you can help them, what solutions, I guess, do you provide at First Movers AI? What does that look like if you're onboarding someone?
Yes. Well, as you know, this is barely a 3-month-old company. The idea hit me October 2024, and we literally built the website, launched in November, and I just opened the doors and we had a flood. We had 50 calls booked in the first couple of weeks. I was on each one. So my goal was, how do I build product market fit? And we're actually still determining that because we have so many leads. It's like, okay, how do we actually serve the right category with something very specific? So what we're going to do moving forward, you and I are chatting early January here, 2025. We're going to do a self-service offering where anyone not at what we call enterprise scale can still purchase pre-built solutions. So what we do is, we're focused on the future. That's going to be agentic workflows. That's going to be bots talking to each other. And we really want to build on the frontier models and the best platforms that exist. We want to build working, viable solutions, which is a far cry from all the hype and all the options out there. Is it actually viable? Will this actually change my marketing? Will this get me leads? Will this level up my brand? Does this generative AI model produce my products with the logo intact? So everything we build, we want to offer it in 2 different ways, pretty much at scale inside enterprises, because that's when you really start to make a difference with scale and touching a lot of different marketing aspects. But then on the flip side of that, there's people who are not enterprise that need this too. So we're going to cater to them with more of a self-serve custom approach. And then we've got the labs, which is where I'm going to put all the training, or I'm going to put all the knowledge from all the things we build in the form of short courses and bots that you can instantly just hit play on, learn something great, use the bot, immediately change how you run your business.
That would be something that I'm actually interested in as a solopreneur trying to figure out what I'm doing behind the scenes, right? So I've used like Tascade, you got Lindy, right? You got all these AI agent platforms out there, but they're still not that good in my opinion, especially
No.
from like a solopreneur's perspective, right? So talk about, I guess, do you have a real world example of maybe someone that you've worked with where they worked with you, you provided a solution and they got results from it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We got a couple. It's still very early on. Our builds, when they're very custom, are usually 6-month process, um, because we embed pretty deeply and we get to know their team or we get to know everything about them. And then we're building solutions that replace marketing departments for them. So, one early example we have is somebody who came in who had 15 years of knowledge. This person is incredible. Her name's Tilly. She's a research scientist, led a major multi-billion-dollar lab in researching how different things happened during COVID. And so she's been spending her life in science. What she wants to do is give the world that knowledge, but she had no idea how. And when 2024 hit, she found my YouTube channel and she was like, AI is the future of all of this. She saw it just like we see it. And so she's like, okay, how do I do everything with AI? So what we're doing for her is a no-code website, a platform to run her school on, an entire brand, a marketing strategy, content bots that will replace writers. It's almost like her whole brand, but not in the form of let me coach you through this, which she was paying for. She paid this company a lot of money to basically just join calls and learn how to do it herself. Got nowhere. And so the first couple weeks of onboarding with us, she was like, this feels like 10 years of clarity done in a week.
That's
And we
awesome.
actually had something to show for it because we're using no code solutions to quickly get things to market for her.
No
So
code
it's
solutions are
amazing.
huge.
If you know how to use them right,
For
huge.
sure. Yeah, so that's awesome. I want to talk about YouTube now. You mentioned that she found you through your YouTube channel. I'm looking right now. You have over 82,000 subscribers. That's how I found you in the first place. And first of all, I want to acknowledge the way that you talk about AI in a very positive manner. I respect that. I have a lot of
Mm.
respect for the way that you talk about AI because what do we see, Julia? It's always the contrarian viewpoint. It's like
Yeah.
AI is taking jobs. There's all these nasty headlines, right? So I like your take on where AI is going. I just want to say that
Mm.
first. But back to the YouTube thing, I guess, what was the strategy behind this to start with, right? How do you keep pumping out this quality content at scale?
Yes. Well, it used to be very hard work, and now it is. I can't even begin to express, like, as a 10-year content creator that's put out 9 books, tons of content, I can't even begin to express what happens when you have a custom AI process for yourself and it begins to just free up your life. So, right now, every video you watch on YouTube is my clone. There is no video that is not my clone, but we've got it so dialed in. People on the last 2 videos today and yesterday, they've stopped asking, is this your clone? And they've just accepted it. So something I believe in is
Did you say your clone?
it's my clone.
What did you use to build that? What
Absolutely.
software?
So that's HeyGen and 11 Labs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar
Yes.
with both of those.
And on 11 Labs, a lot of people do the instant voice clone. Do the professional voice clone. I think it's like 20 more bucks a month. The difference is astronomical.
Interesting. I'm going to have to try
Astronomical.
that here later today.
You should. It's incredible. You could literally replace yourself on the podcast. That's how
Wow.
good all this is. So now, because I love researching and putting together really deep content pieces, which is something you identify, like this is not just content you're putting out, it's quality. I actually love the process of sitting down with my Hagen avatar. I've got 17 scenes set up now. We'll probably have 50 scenes, and then I'll never have to film ever again when we're there. And I love the process of sitting down, taking all my research. I run it through Claude. I get a full script. It's a lot of different research I've done for each topic. And then I take that script from Claude and I'm typing, copying and pasting it directly into my Hagen avatar. So instead of filming, my avatar says things even better than I would because it's straight from writing, which is so much more controllable. So I love this new process where I can actually scale my YouTube channel, but it's like I'm just sitting down in the evenings when I'm inspired, typing my prompts into my avatar.
You going to
Never
end up
filming
doing a
again.
tutorial on that or sell like a digital product on it?
Oh, I have a hour-long tutorial filmed for the labs. It's beautiful.
I was like,
You'll
that'd
know
be something I'd be
exactly how to do
interested
it.
in for sure.
you'll know exactly how to do it.
For sure. Yeah. So I just hit 10K subscribers. I started in 2023.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was late to the YouTube game. I have no video skills, no creative skills. I'm an SEO background,
Oh,
right? So I'm not really in that field. But I want to ask you, in your early days when you were doing this, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a creator trying to build this up?
Yeah. I think it was just bottleneck of myself. Whenever you need to grow something, especially when it's a channel with your name, your face, the bottleneck is you, and that will never change. And so, how do we remove that bottleneck? Well, my idea was number one, let me actually be honest, tell everyone this is my clone. So, whenever we got the clone dialed in, which took quite a bit of work, I put it into a video in two parts. I made the entire intro. This was my '03 video, which exploded. It's, I think, 175,000 views now. And then at the end of the video, it was the real me in the same exact clothes, the same exact chair. And I was saying, hey, that first part wasn't me. It was my digital clone. And so incredible engagement on that video because everyone went back and watched. I didn't know that would happen. So engagement was all time high. Revenue on that video, all time high. And then what happened was every video I put out next, people asked, "Is this your clone?" And I would answer every time. I'm like, "I just wrote a book called Liberation Through the Machines." Yes, it's my clone. I'm sitting here liberated.
You have to be one of the early adopters to this process too, I would imagine.
No one's doing this on
Yeah.
YouTube. And if they're cloning themselves, they're not telling us, which I think actually hurts the potential. Because now that people know it's my clone, they're ready for that. And they know, okay, this is Julia actually practicing what she preaches because she sells this. And they respect it even more. It gets us more leads. And then they expect it and they're not shocked if the clone says something wrong or messes up, which hasn't happened to date. It's been amazing. So
So
it's,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, I was just gonna say it's the only. I think I would love to see more creators do this, but so far I'm the only channel I believe in existence where I've cloned myself and I've told everyone that.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch your past few videos just to see this now.
It's hard
But
to tell.
instead of just cloning, I guess, where do you see AI and content creation going? Right, you mentioned your cloning
Mm.
process. Any other trends that you see here in 2025 or beyond?
Yeah, 100%. I think that we're going to be able to get hyper personalized marketing at scale, which, if you think about it, that's impossible. That's like you need writers, editors, producers, but they also need to understand you really, really well, like better than your sister. How is a writer going to do that? So the whole dynamic has completely changed. When you can sit down with the LLM, train it on your knowledge, you can open ChatGPT voice, talk to it for an hour, and instantly it's going to be able to download your brain, who you are, understand you. From there, you have your copywriter, which means you can then train whatever LM you're on, you can train it on viral writing hooks and instantly have a well trained copywriter. I think the potential of that is it's not just life changing, it's world changing. Because what that means is that marketing and the ability to produce really great marketing is now accessible to anyone. You literally just need a $20 a month AI tool. That's insane when you think about it.
I
So if I
completely agree
know,
with you. The fact that we have this in our pockets for only $20 a month, I feel like people can't comprehend that yet.
no, no, definitely not. And I think it takes people like us saying, oh, guess what? I trained it on viral writing hooks. I trained it on my brain. And now, if you look at my X, this is me personally speaking, all of my X posts have better reach, engagement. They're more accurate to me than any writer I've ever hired. So when we have that dynamic at our fingertips, it's incredible what happens, but we're so stuck in fear of it. It's taking away jobs that we don't even see that huge benefit sitting right there in our laps. Oh,
So I have to ask you now, do you think with like AI agents, obviously that's the hot buzzword in 2025, do you see AI agents, like what kind of impact do you think it'll have either this year, next year's, particularly the white collar workforce, I think is the most impacted here in my opinion. What are your quick predictions on that and how AI agents will impact the workforce and the economy?
yeah, absolutely. I think we could see if things pan out, especially in January with Operator coming to ChatGPT, um, Agent OS systems coming online, which is where you can run entire networks of agents on new platforms that haven't existed. if these things happen in January and so far we're on track, then I think by the end of the year, we could see 90% of office jobs eliminated. And that's a very aggressive prediction, but we have something that we've never had in the history of humanity before, which is we're looking at the opportunity to adapt to tech that is faster, safer, better, and cheaper than anything we've had prior. Whenever we went from horse-drawn carriage to the car, horse to the car, we didn't have that. Like, we had safety issues. The cost was greater. If you think of any adaptation in history. So this is the first time we've had all four. And that's why I think the cliff will be as insane as what I'm predicting versus a gradual shift.
I like to refer to AI and how much it updates as like Moore's law times 1,000. That's the way I look at it. The biggest hesitation, I guess, in my opinion, is the C-suite, right? You look at the C-suite in all these Fortune 500 companies and these massive companies, they barely understand what AI is. They've heard of ChatGPT. They hear all the headlines from their investors, their shareholders. But in my opinion, and it's going to take some major convincing for them to actually take some action and either replace a bunch of people, hire consultants, right? I think there's a lot of hurdles there.
Yes, agree completely. I think that those hurdles will dissipate when it's like, oh, this competitor of mine, like, let's take a multi-million-dollar company. They're looking at a competitor. That competitor launched an agentic workflow that eliminated 80% of the marketing headcount, which wasn't even really doing much anyway, because marketing analysis is okay, that can be done better by the machines. That is robot work. That's not really human work. So when you have data entry jobs, that is better done by the robots. And if you have competitors quickly accelerating, I think we'll even break down that huge barrier of C-suite fear or the lack of adoption, because there's a lot of roadblocks and a lot of decision makers and a lot of red tape. I think even that will dissipate completely when it's like, wait, there's an entire agentic workflow I can install right now that understands the entire business better than my human department does and instantly gets work done better, faster, safer, cheaper.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, no, it's insane. I remember my old corporate job, and I'm not going to say who it was. I hope no one's listening for my old corporate job for one. But I remember just walking around and thinking where AI's at right now, that could replace at least 3/4 of the positions that were there. So it's just crazy to even think about that.
Wow. Great point.
Yeah. So I also want to ask you too, can you share like what your internal AI tool stack is? I'm sure you're dabbling in so many tools, you're in the weeds of this stuff, but just high level, you mind sharing your AI tool stack?
Yeah, absolutely. So for our own marketing, I call it my copywriter. It's a trained Claude project. That's definitely paying for Claude Pro, $20 a month. We've got ChatGPT, the enterprise. So we're on O1. We're on I think we're paying like $900 a year per person, but we've got our entire team in that centralized enterprise ChatGPT account. The biggest thing I found about that's been amazing is that anyone in that account can either use a custom GPT that someone else made, or they can make their own, and it stays housed within our company. So we have tons of bots that run so many processes, and that alone, having that house right there, has been so beneficial. It feels like our own private version of ChatGPT. And then for marketing, video gen, oh my gosh, one of our mantras is we just test new tools almost every day, find the ones that work. So for video gen, definitely a big fan of Sora, Runway, Kling, great video gen tools. I think that VO2.
Do you have access to VO2 yet?
I'm on the wait list.
I am too still. Listening. I am too. Yep.
Google, come on now. I can't wait. That one. Oh, that one's probably the best one I've ever seen. And so the Google DeepMind team is just incredible. I mean, they're world class with what they're doing. Yeah. And then on digital avatars, it's HeyGen, 11 Labs for sure. Those are our two favorite. And then agents, we're really liking the relevance platform these days. Very good stuff. But we're moving to, our own flow with GitHub and our own builds. So it's going to be a lot more custom coming up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Claude 3.5 Sonnet, the actual model. I just have a lot of beef with like they can't connect to the internet, they can't generate images yet. True. So I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like Claude computer use, that is a revolutionary thing that they came up with. But I mean, you got Google coming out with all these huge updates lately. I think Meta still can't be ignored with Movie Gen and all those updates. So that was going to be my next question for you, Julia, is who's winning the AI race right now, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, and then you got Elon Musk supposedly going
XAI,
to
yeah.
losses. Yep, yep. I think I'm shocked I'm saying this. I mean, if you bucket per category, Anthropic's winning the writing. Like, if you want a really great writer, there's no better writer than Claude 3.5 Sonnet. No better writer. The empathy, the understanding of human nature it has is incredible. But beyond copy, I think that the real innovation, I'm shocked I'm saying this, is actually coming out of Google
Gemini
and what
2.0.
DeepMind is doing. Yes, yes. And I think we saw with Willow in December, the quantum chip. What? Are you kidding me? That to me was the biggest news of the year. If we have stabilized qubits and Google is confident enough to say, hey, this will be out for commercial use, it might be 20 years, it might be 5 years. I don't care about that. The main thing is they were like, we have stabilized qubits. For a company as big as Google to say that, that's been something scientists have been trying to do for decades, not a century. So it's just incredible to see what Google, specifically the DeepMind team, what they are doing is unbelievable.
I agree with you. I think Google is just set up with the infrastructure, the data that they have versus I know you got Anthropic with Amazon money, you got OpenAI with Microsoft money, you got all these big investors in the back end, but I just look at Google's holistic infrastructure and data. Obviously, the lawsuit pending, that's a big thing here. But I'm like, who's going to beat them? I mean, they have
Yeah,
all the great talent, they have everything else. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing. I don't think Google's going to be beat in the long run.
agreed. 100%. They've got monopoly. And like you said, they're actually in court to have that monopoly broken up. If they lose Chrome, which is the supposed outcome,
Well, and
that's
that's the other thing.
nuts.
Who's going to buy Chrome, right?
I
Who
know.
can afford it? Another monopoly.
That's the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
problem. Yep, yep.
So it's insane. I want to talk about OpenAI's O3 model really quick. I don't think they've released this to the public yet. I could be wrong on that. Okay, yeah. So I was right on that. So it's technically not considered AGI, right? So I want to hear how close, in your opinion, you think we are to AGI.
Yeah. Well, I think, we know that OpenAI threw about $300,000 to pass the ARC AGI benchmark. And so the founders of that benchmark believe that the benchmark wasn't passed. They're not going to give the $1 million prize. It's still out there as unpassed, but technically, OpenAI did, in fact, pass it. They just didn't pass it in a sustainable way, which is what needs to happen. It needs to be 10K or less of compute. So if we know that it happened, then I think it's very much in line with expectations to say, in all reality, AGI is here. When you have something that is better than any human at math, coding, writing, reasoning, we just don't have all the pieces put together in one centralized form, which is AGI. Then we have all the pieces of AGI, and we arguably have machines that can think better, produce better than humans. We are living in an AGI world. And so I think claiming that position now really helps you become a first mover, get ready for what's coming when the whole centralized system comes online. And it's like, oh, we've got AGI in the internet or the tools we use every day, because that will be coming. It's just a matter of time. We have all the pieces. It's crazy to see the tech leaders like Altman, Musk, they're talking about not AGI, they're talking about super intelligence. And Logan Kilpatrick, Google's product lead, super intelligence. So for all these tech platforms to be talking about that and just skipping over AGI, again, points to the fact that I believe it's already here. I just don't think we have the systems to run it all yet, but the engine has been built. It's here.
Yeah. I'm always skeptical of benchmarks whenever like an AI company puts out a new model. Look at these benchmarks. We just beat all the existing models. I'm like, weird. It's on your website. Of course you're going to say that, right? So I want to talk about Marketing Quacks now, Julia. This is the Marketing Quacks podcast after all. In your opinion, what are some, I guess, tricks or gimmicks that you see out of I want to stick on the topic of content creators. What are some gimmicks that you see content creators do?
Yes. Well, there is way, 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 way too much clickbait around AI in particular. It's this shocking fact today. It's another shocking fact tomorrow.
This tool's going to change everything. Oh my God,
Yes.
RIP, Chat GPT.
This latest release from ChatGPT will blow your mind and shock you. Oh, okay. So there's so much riding on the wave that people are doing that creates more noise and less actual gold. That gold is what brings in your clients, your buyers, your audience. And whenever you create that noise, it creates this dissonance that makes it harder for your people to find you. So, like, by all means, skip the hype. Like, at this point, everything I publish about AI is so carefully said. If you see me talk about agents, for example, the misnomer, the misconception out there is, oh, I can just jump on a platform, build out a mind map of agents, and instantly replace marketing. No, you can't. That whole system will fall apart, won't understand what you need. You will have breakdown immediately. We don't have an inference time compute to run entire agentic workflows. We're not there. So, like, we're not even installing it in client businesses yet. We're building them bots to get them ready for agents.
Yeah.
And so the hype out there is you click on YouTube and you just see agents, agents, agents. It's the future. Okay, well, what's the present? And there's not a lot of people speaking to the present.
And of
so
course, you got the
talk
robot faces and the thumbnails, and you got the rockets, and all this
Yes.
stuff going on.
So true. Yeah. So when I talk about this stuff, I reference. Some people call me out. They're like, "Oh, it's an old study," but I'm referencing an old case study because I want to tell you what's been proven versus what's coming. Like, that is the difference. Yeah, you're going to see me in a Matrix costume because I am using Flux and all the new tools, and you're going to see what makes you think, oh, that looks like hype. But I guarantee you, when you click on my content, you're actually going to learn something. So that to me is the difference of a marketer that's just focused on hype. When you use that headline, when you use that, you kind of appropriate that news piece, that trend for your own gain versus let me jump on that and actually really provide value and understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and also the quality of your audience will improve over time doing it that way too,
Yes.
right? Those people become prospective leads, they become advocates for you and refer you to other people, right? The whole quality versus quantity when it comes to building an audience online, I think is a huge topic a lot of people miss, especially when they're just starting.
Yes, so true.
So I want to, Julia, thank you so much again for, I guess, being here and being on the show here. Any final notes that you want to talk about with AI, content creation, marketing, YouTube that we talked about in this episode?
I would say, just to everyone listening, like, continue to land on the opportunity. Like, in the days ahead, we are going to see headlines. We're going to see even major news stories that cover the fear and the loss, because there is going to be job loss. There is going to be massive change. But I'm telling you right now, if you can focus and fix your eyes on the opportunity, which is, again, that $20 a month copywriter in your pocket that outperforms David Ogilvy. Like, if we have that, the world is your oyster. You can do anything now. So if you think of it like that, every single day it takes some training because, we're inundated with headlines that say the complete opposite, then you will really, really benefit from this revolution and you won't lose.
That's a great point. Shifting that mindset towards the positive side and how we can benefit and learn from this technology versus the fear mongering that goes on everywhere you look. I love that mindset for sure. So, Julia, where can people follow you online to learn more?
Yes, definitely YouTube channel, Julia McCoy. I call it the rabbit hole, as you know, Ryan, where, we explore everything about this cross section of human nature itself, our well-being, and then, of course, work. How will work change? So that's the best place to follow me. You can check out what we're doing at firstmovers.ai. We've got a wait list for the labs there. We're evolving kind of our messaging there to focus on what we're doing now, which is kind of two categories: enterprise for highly custom integration, and then a lot of self-service, pre-built, but also customized offerings for that lower entry that still need custom integrations. So
awesome. Well, yeah, I'll leave all that stuff in the notes below, give you some podcast backlinks for SEO as well. And Julia, thank you so much for joining this episode. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. Be sure to tune in again next time.
Thank you.